I get hit with a lot more copyright claims than I thought I did. YouTube doesn't tell me when something's been claimed, so I have to actually look at my analytics and the like, and I'm like, wait a second, that's a lot of claiming. And let's be real, turning 2 minutes of content into 10, 15 minutes of content is no longer your content. So if, God willing, I ever get in a position where it's monetizable, I will be appealing all of those. And I know I usually don't start videos with such a thing, but yeah, it's a little irritating. It really is, because this entire channel is my content. Like, regardless of, like, you made a hot line, I turned it into a hot song. Okay. so so yeah, with that being said, the gentleman on the screen is a man by the name of John Stossel, and I recalled him from back in the day. He's one of those faces that, when I was a kid, he was on television. I just didn't really know where I could place him from, and I looked into his wiki, and CBS New York. Yeah, I remember this guy. He used to be on the news all the time. I think he had his own spot and the like. And so he is on the platform. I'm going to leave a link to his channel in the description, but he produced this video that was sent to me, male brain versus female brain, because I love my audience, and you guys know exactly the type of stuff that I like to get into. So without further ado, we going to make this hot line a hot song. Let's go.
Have you heard? When it comes to how we think, gender doesn't matter. There seems to be no purely male brains versus female brains.
Okay, so Mr. Stossel, I'm gonna stop you right there, because you hear the accent, right? I mean, as Americans, we just cannot listen to these folks like that, man. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be voicists at all, but it's just hey man, hey mate, I think I can sit here and tell you and sell you while you're wearing white gloves some ketchup popsicles. And trust me, it's not gonna get your hands all red. But sure enough, the hands get red, and you buy into it because, oh man, such a great accent there, mate.
There is no difference.
I've been skeptical of that claim for years. Aren't women in general better nurturers?
No. Next question.
When Google...
Who was that lady? Wasn't that lady that's like that feminist lady? And this is back in the day. You see how dark his hair was, right? For apparently ABC News, where she's like, no, women are not better nurturers.
Engineer James Damore merely suggested that gender differences might explain why we don't have 50% representation of women in tech. He was fired. In the culture war, those who claim total equality are winning.
There seems to be quite a lot of you.
Professor Gina Rippon just wrote this book that says neuroscience has shattered the myth of the female brain.
I've certainly been talking to full houses. In Denmark, there was 1,200 people and 500 people on a waiting list.
In America, too, people crowd into auditoriums to hear Rippon explain.
And they crowd in to hear her explain because she has that accent. I'm telling you, the weirdo accent is what drives that insanity. There is forces at play that got hella bread that want to spread this notion that there's just absolutely no difference between male and female and how our brains think and process information, and just we have biology sitting there telling us no, that's bullshit. I'm telling you, the whole gender thing is nonsense. We know this.
Just how different are the sexes?
Sex isn't an important differentiator?
With respect to brains and brain structures, it doesn't look as though it is.
It's important to get that message out, says Rippon, so people don't mindlessly follow stereotypes.
You don't want an idea that this is something that's natural.
Okay, so good on you for using the boys roughhousing and the young ladies, playing patty cake. Okay, we always point it out.
Not natural that in school more boys want to play football and more girls wanted to do ballet?
Well,
I want to run and bang into people, and I'm bored by ballet.
And here's the thing. We have thousands of years of evolution and tons and tons of data on market research by companies who are looking to ultimately make money that back in the day we're concerned about making money. Now they all want to spread a message, but back in the day we're concerned about making money, so they're like, hey, this is how we sell the most so we can make the type of money to whereas eventually in the future we can pretend boys and girls are the exact same thing. Let's continue.
Actually, girls might want to run and bang into people, but because there's an image that girls don't do that, they're stopped from doing that. So thank you.
Bull and shit. Guys, let's be real. Do girls really just want to run and bang into people? Some girls, yes, of course, naturally. And we've created so many spaces for them to do that amongst each other. But girls banging up against dudes just straight up, we know that is folly. That's not gonna rock. That's not gonna rock out like that. Females are far more cerebral, in the sense that their cattiness and aggression and their what's the word, that step in aggression. The next, instead of physical, where us men have it, it's more psychological.
Thank you very much for listening.
And that's what today's audiences want to hear.
We must fight it together. Thank you.
But in my reporting, I've covered research that shows big differences. For example, tests show most men have better spatial awareness. Students are blindfolded and then walk through the maze of tunnels that run underneath the campus. When the women are asked where a college building is,
can you tell me where Wilson Commons is?
They're not so sure.
That way?
Men, however, retained a sense of what direction they'd moved.
Go through the next doors.
Makes perfect sense, right? Particularly if it's a space that you are really familiar with. Right now, I can go, if I were to go blindfolded into work or any other space that I frequent, yeah, I'll be able to probably, navigate through there pretty well, gingerly, but rather well. Whereas, shoot, you know what? I'm not even going to say it. Let's keep going.
Take a left.
Women, on the other hand, have a better memory for detail. Those students are asked to wait in a cluttered room while an experimenter gets something ready. How much of the room will she remember?
On the right-hand side of the desk right here was a briefcase with your initials at the top.
Women typically give answers like this.
In the middle, there was envelopes, York University envelopes. There was a thing of Clearasil, a Bazooka Joe comic.
Men were more likely to say, I don't know, some stuff.
I don't have a very good memory.
Of course, they might have been molded by our sexist society. Except...
And that's the thing, it wasn't, how do I put it? The small, the little minute details. Females are amazing at that. When they want to be. Let's be real. Or if they are, they're alert. Females are really good at that. Once again, it's not a matter of equality, because equality is a false god. What I really truly believe is that, we're complementary pieces. Everybody's a complementary piece. Really, male, female, whatever. No two people are equal on the strength of there's no, there's just that spectrum that they like to talk about is so vast. There's guys that'll probably be able to completely Rain Man that room and be like, oh yeah, and the clock was at 3:45 p.m.
The tests on infants also find differences. Baby boys look longer at objects like tractor parts. Infant girls stare at faces. Girls looked at the face, and boys more likely looked at the object.
If you look very closely at the data, a third of the girls actually seem to respond more to the tractor parts than the boys.
A third.
Look more closely at how many more ways you going to break it apart?
A third.
But 2/3 didn't.
So let's do it again with a bigger set of newborns, a better controlled set of stimuli.
The media are clearly on Ripon's side.
Seems like we're just not that different after all.
But many scientists will tell you.
Our brains are not basically the same. You can tell, looking at brains, whether or not they belong to a male or a female 80% of the time.
Evolutionary psychology.
80%, that's pretty dang good. And seriously, you have eyes. I'm sorry. We have eyeballs, man. We have lived experiences. We have like stats. Let's be real. This is ridiculous.
Just Diana Fleischman.
Cultures around the world show very similar differences between men and women. Men are more likely to seek status. Women are more likely to take care of children. Women.
And that's the thing. Men are more likely to seek status and resources so they can have it to, take care of women and children. Like when we sit here and we complain about all of these, oh my goodness, we're so all these vulnerable people, right? The people that are supposed to be there for the vulnerable are the only ones that can, which is, family, ultimately. And families, they have there is a order. There is a natural order that makes things run smoothly. But instead of, gearing towards having a society that is running smoothly by having that quote unquote patriarchal regime in place, particularly within urban spaces in our country, it's more of a matriarchal thing. And with that, and when you lose the patriarch, you lose the discipline, and when you lose the discipline, chaos ensues.
Are more likely to stay in the home. Men are more likely to do dangerous, aggressive things like go to war.
Because we men have been socialized. Work's important, and you women have been told by your mothers, say.
But I know he's being facetious here, but it's not so. It's completely biological. We have our instincts. It's a big part of the reason why so many people are feeling empty right now, because there is no they have no purpose other than consume. And for a lot of females, that can be rather fulfilling, but not for men. And that's a big part of the reason why the the numbers are where they are when it comes to people taking their own lives.
Take care of the kids.
Why would you see that across every culture in the world?
Maybe because cultures have always encouraged men to behave this way. We are the same until society influences us.
And if you look at non-human animals, if you look at monkeys, they don't have culture, and yet there's still these very large differences between males and females.
Among scientists, that's majority opinion. Neuroscience cited 70 studies that found differences. Boys are more likely to be autistic, colorblind, and have speech problems. I stutter. Most stutterers are boys. It's not a brain difference?
There are those kinds of brain differences, and I'm definitely not a brain difference denier.
That's kind of how you've been presented by much of the media.
Indeed. Perhaps I haven't read the book.
I bet that...
But she was the one saying this, basically saying that there is no difference. Oh my goodness. It's like, I'm not the brain difference denier. And ladies and gentlemen, right there, we have that female logic. It runs directly into a wall and runs right through that motherfucker the second it gets a chance. Like, oh yeah, I'm not sitting here denying that there's differences between the male and female brain. I wrote a whole book about how there's no difference between the male and female brain. My God, what a world.
Headline writers didn't. On the other hand,
Gina Rippon seems to be a sex difference denier depending on kind of what audience that she's talking to.
They're thinking there's a difference between men and women. People like me stand...
A grifter. I mean, that's basically what it is. People who really don't have any conviction other than the paper.
And say, actually, no, there's not.
Is an incredibly alluring message. It's really sad that it's not right.
I'm not even going to lie. Over the course of watching this video, she's definitely hopped into the 35% club.
Is this a really good message that we should be sending out to everybody, that there are profound or fundamental differences?
it shouldn't matter whether it's a good message. It should just be science, what the truth is.
But science is not as neat as people like to think.
That's why we have the science that we have, is to make things neat as possible, as easy to explain as possible.
That hasn't stopped politicians and businesses from demanding gender equality. BBC.
And that's the thing. It's not even just the gender equality. And did you guys know that they're doing a what's that thing? A Saved by the Bell remake where there's a trans Zach Morris that's a chick that thinks it's a dude. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, that's a real thing going on one of those streaming sites. My God, yo, keep your kids away from this shit. Yo, keep like yo. I'm telling y'all, I'm taking my fit. Like as soon as Jay, I'm pregnant. Word. Hey, she wake up. We on a mountain in the side of Thailand, yo. Like, oh yeah, this is where this baby coming out at. Cause nah, I'm not here. No.
Announced that it wants an equal number of men and women.
We reaffirmed our commitment to advance gender equality. Because politicians say men and women are the same. If women are paid less, it must be sexism.
Word, and it's such a frustrating thing to watch. Is all these people and they're doing it. I mean, they just laid into this whole women are a minority type situations. Like, no, but wait, no, you're not though. Hold up, but you ain't no minority. But no, they've all fallen into the chicks are a minority trap.
Pay gap and the wage gap is an injustice.
Unfortunately, a lot of scientists, people like Gina Rippon,
Like seriously, like her eyes are just fantastic. I mean, a fan of the hair too. Right? Yeah, she's saying smart stuff. 35% all day.
have made it seem like, yes, there should be gender parity, but you do see that men and women have different interests.
By arguing this, you perpetuate stereotypes, sexism.
Saying that men and women have different aptitudes isn't sexism. It's actually a statement about the true nature of the world.
But that's the thing, though. There are people who treat it like it is. All those politicians, all of the people who are now in positions of power all throughout. I mean, we're not just talking about it. We're talking about like from judges to just throughout like tentacles throughout all of the institutions in our nation. There is this, this poisonous mindset that has been just unleashed. And seriously, we got to put the cat back in the bag with that one.
If we keep saying that those differences in what men and women choose to do are because of sexism, nobody's going to end up happy with what they're doing. And we're going to keep making laws to remedy what's actually just the result of freedom.
Exactly. You just can't legislate. You just can't legislate this stuff. But either ways, guys, this is John Stossel's page. What was that? How Feminism Fails Boys, Academic Hoax. I assume that's about about college. So I'm gonna leave a link in the description. With that being said, all the internet stuff. If you liked it, toss it a like. Dislike, go ahead, do that too. Nobody's scared of you. Sub if you enjoy my fantastic voice. You want to get videos like this every single day. Share because sharing is caring. And YouTube and BitChute, like I'm the biggest fans of your boy over here. Bang the bell for notifications and speak. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, there's so many differences. Like, so many differences. And the type of people who go out there screaming how there isn't no difference, they just about the bread, man. They're seriously about the bread. And me, for one, I don't not really knock the hustle because life's expensive. But at the same time, the ends do not justify the means as far as this is concerned, at least for me. But maybe you feel differently. And that's what I have a comment section for. Until the next one.